These rows of strange hummocks behind me look like dunes, but they're entirely man-made. This artificial landscape has been reclaimed by nature spectacularly. And so important is it for wildlife that a conservation charity has been set up on its doorstep to protect the inhabitants. And believe me, there are tens of thousands of them.
Great Crested Newts, Britain's biggest and rarest. But before I encounter them face to face, Jules Howard from Frog Life explains how the countryside at the edge of Peterborough ended up looking like this.
Jules, I have to say, this place is like a lunar landscape with grass.
It was a former brickworks. The whole area was sort of cleared out for clay extraction to send to the factory and make into bricks. And they would go through the whole site, digging these trenches, so you've got this whole network really of big long canals, absolutely perfect for wildlife.
How many Great Crested Newts are we talking then?
So on site, 30,000.
30,000 Great Crested Newts. That's unbelievable. What an amazing number. That's got to be the biggest site in Britain, surely.
It is, yeah. It is thought to be the biggest colony in Britain and perhaps even Europe as well.
Even though it's a big site, there's development enclosing on all sides. Is this place safe?
The place is absolutely safe. You know, the wildlife value that's here will basically keep it safe, you know, forever.
It's likely the newts spread over the site within a couple of years of each pit being exhausted. Free from predators or disturbance, they're now flourishing at full capacity, but that doesn't mean spotting them will be easy.
Oh, these things here on the left, these plants, stonewort. So these are actually the other reason that the site's protected. These are incredibly rare plants. The distribution map is a little sprinkling in North Scotland and then here at this one site. But also, Great Crested Newts themselves will be using them as places to lay eggs.
Well, at the moment, although we've got an absolutely brilliant view, we've got a bit of a lack of newts, haven't we?
You know, it's the site with 30,000 of the things we should be lucky enough to see in tonight.
I suppose for that, we're going to have to wait till dusk, but
Definitely.
let's have a little play with this in the meantime,
Yeah.
eh?
Looking after this private reserve is a huge responsibility for site owners O&H Hampton, which they take very seriously. They employ Frog Life to run the reserve and carry out the annual newt count. It's a Herculean task, but crucial for monitoring the population.
We're completely dependent on volunteers, you know, members of the public, local communities, to actually get involved on site and do the counting, you know, alongside us.
And may I ask what drives you night after night to come out to look at small amphibians in the water?
Well, my wife told me to give up drinking, so I thought I'd better do something constructive. But
Joe, how's it going?
Not too bad tonight. I think we've seen about sort of around 15 so far and quite a lot of smooth newts as well.
Great. There's one. There's two. There's one there as well. There's one in the light now. Oh, that's a nice view. Look at that. There he goes. Lovely.
A smooth newt.
There's a smooth newt in the water. Look at that.
The smooth newt is another of Britain's 3 native species, but they need to be careful their young don't fall prey to their larger great crested cousins.
In all my years of filming wildlife, Great Crested Newts have to be one of the most difficult. We have seen loads tonight, but they're so quick. The moment we get a light on them, they've just snuck into the vegetation. But fortunately, Jules.
One of my colleagues at Frog Life has kindly collected a Great Crested Newt for us, and this is important for the volunteers as well. You know, it's important that they see these animals up close. You know, it gives them better ID skills.
Why have they got such a phenomenal orange-coloured belly?
Well, basically that's, you know, to show fish, other animals underneath, that they don't taste nice. So it's really a warning sign. And interestingly, each one's individual as well. So it's a bit like a fingerprint. Each newt has an individual sort of pattern.
And how do you think the survey's gone? Because we've seen a lot, I would say 30, 40. It's been a good night.
It's been a great night. I mean, like you say, we've seen absolutely plenty.
I think they've done pretty well, particularly this young fella.
Yeah.
I think we should release him back into the wild. What'd you say?
I say, let's do it, yeah, definitely.
Make it 30,001.